Come and visit the knife lab. Come spend time in the knife lab with Peter and his friends. Quietly conducting his research, staving off all the loneliness. Come and visit the knife lab. Meet my new sister wife lab. She don't talk as much, she has a rough touch. She brings a special something that I need in life. But I miss my wife.
Hello, and welcome back to the Knife Lab. We've got an interesting, and by we I mean I have got an interesting video for you today. We are doing a D2 three ways. So really the three knives I've got are essentially variants of D2 in either ingredients or preparation. So, and they're all different forms of preparation as well. Very, very interesting. So what we've got is the star of the show is PSF27, a steel from, this is a Gale Bradley Junction by Spyderco. Apparently this is one of Mr. Bradley's favourite steels, the PSF27. And this is a D2 recipe, but it is formed using the spray form process. So that is, I guess, what it sounds like. I can't really find any videos of it or anything like that. I can read a couple of explanations about it, but it is kind of as it sounds. It's still a way of getting a finer and more even composition of steels, but not via the powder methodology that most of our common super steels are made with. So this is PSF27, aka D2, but with a spray form structure to it. And then next we've got one of my favorites, a good old CTS XHP, which is basically D2 steel but with added chromium in it. Now CTS XHP is also a micro melt steel, so it's not a powder steel, it's a bit of a different process, but it is still aimed at getting much more even distribution of elements. Interestingly enough, it's got the stainless properties of it because the chromium goes up a little bit higher. Now, there is a number that D2 needs in chromium to be able to be called a stainless steel, and this is a stainless steel, XHP, but I'll just show you this Knife Steel Nerds article. It's not as easy an answer as you think it would be, because it all depends on what temperatures you're taking it up to, because the carbon in it, the higher carbon content, does bind up a lot of the chromium to make carbides, and so less is left for stain resistance. So anyway, micro melting, whether that is the key to the success of this steel, because there is a CPM D2. However, from my understanding, there isn't enough benefit in the CPM process for D2, which is why you don't really see it a great deal. Usually, once someone CPMs a steel, look at 154. CPM 154 has all the great properties about 154 cm, but a little bit better in everything as well. And in my experience, it seems to resist rust, hold an edge, and be a little bit tougher. So it's just that uniform structure of the steel. It is, quite good. It's a good way of maximizing the potential, I guess, of the recipe. So interestingly enough, the particle metallurgy process, the CPM process, doesn't quite do, well, it does, I'm sure it does bind the D2 together better and all that stuff, but apparently D2 doesn't get the same boost as most other steels do when you run them through that process. So I think the companies have generally found, well, for the increase you get, it's not enough to justify the extra cost. So you either keep it as just normal old D2, or as Carpenter do, they micro melt it with a bit of chromium in it and make it a little bit of a different beast. So that's kind of the difference. There are much cleverer people that don't sort of talk out their ass as much as me about this stuff, although I'm pretty sure from, lurking a few forums and reading Knife Steel Nerds a bit, I'm pretty sure I'm paraphrasing at least correctly. But by all means, when it comes to the more technical stuff, I'd also check somewhere else too. But that's my understanding of it. Anyway, let's see where these differences lie. We're going to start off with D2, then we're going to go the XHP, and then we're going to bust out the PSF27. We're going to do the factory edge, and then we're going to do I'll put a different edge on it, like a mirror polish edge, 16 or 17 degrees or something. Well, this is 16, I'll aim for that. And then remembering the D2 is at 15 degrees, done by Dave. So Dave is the guy who sent it in, and he sharpened it. It is a very sharp little edge on it. It has got a mirror finish on it. I'm not sure exactly. He's written 1K on the blade, but I'm not quite sure what that means. So, but anyway, it seems like a very, very good bitey edge. So we're going to do all 3 steels. The PSF is going to get done twice, and at the end I'll show you about the rust resistance of the PSF27 as well. So it should be an okay video, so I hope you all enjoy it. $2.90. Pretty good. Alright. Cool. $2.90 on the classic D2 with Dave's edge, which was very sharp. $2.90 is a great result. Thinking back to that D2 off, Dave's obviously a very good sharpener. And yes, there we go. A good result indeed for remember, a non-powder steel, but it's got a hefty dose of carbon in it, so you know, there's little traces of vanadium and other things might help it out too. So, you know, not a surprising result really. It's a good result because D2 is a perfectly good steel, for sure. All right, let's move on to the Catus, or as they like to call it, CTS XHP. This is $2.90. So one where the other D2 stopped. Oh, no bloody worries, mate. $400. See how we're looking, eh? Oh, a little bit raggy. A little bit raggy at 400. Bit of rag to it, you know. I hate when I lose my end. Righto. $4.50. Oh, it's got some crunch to it now. It's got some crunch to it, fellas. It is with crunch. There we go. There we go. Righto, $4.50? Yeah, $4.50. And the CTS XHP has stopped. What a great steal for an $80 knife in the chaparral. I mean, come on people, that's just bloody excellent. It just, the recipe is, it defies its recipe. That's what I love about XHP. Isn't that much of an impressive recipe. D2 with some chromium in it, but powder metallurgy, micro melt. Seems to make it hit the sweet spot. Bloody lovely. Let's move on to the star of the show. Rightio, so PSF27. This is the Spyderco's factory edge, which is probably at about 20 degrees, knowing Spyderco on a fixed blade. But yeah, it really is virgin. It hasn't cut anything, so we'll see. We'll see how we go, I suppose. Whoa. Actually, first time using the knife. No glove, no love. Got to work out how this thing feels to use repetitively for the review. Should I choil? To choil or not to choil? That is the question. I'm sure I'll work it out as I go. Alright. Good. Got paper. Got paper somewhere. Yep. Oh, you feel them after you do 3 tests in a row, don't you? No worries at all there. Oh, magic. Magic Spyderco. Great factory edge, guys. Just great. It is actually not too bad. Two hunch. Oh. Wow, these are epic days when we have cut tests like this. No bloody worries, mate. 200, good to go. Factory edge. Okay. Thinking about normal D2 factory edge, it probably would have stopped by now, so kind of impressive already. So it's 290 and time to change reels anyway, so 290, let's see how it's looking. Oh. Righto. Oh, a little bit crunchy. Still going though, still going, no hiccups. Nothing's catching. Oh, 290. Well, I reckon it's good stuff, that's for sure. Pretty good. Seeing as I paid, I think it was an $80, $90 fixed blade knife from DLT Trading. I reckon that was what it was. Pretty bloody good deal, I reckon. Maybe? I don't know, good deals are all relative, aren't they, when you're a knife nerd like me? Righto, 290. Whoa, there's the end. Ooh. Oh, it's getting there. I reckon we'll give it another 25 more. 25 more. Okay. $375, and there we are. It's definitely a catch point there, it's starting to zag. $375 on its factory edge. That just excites me for the next test, I tell you what. Pretty bloody good. So you got 290. Super nice, excellent polished edge by Dave on this one, right? And you got 450, right, on this one, which is a much thinner, much nicer edge than a 20 degree or whatever it was factory edge, maybe 18, who knows. I'll measure when I do its recheck, I suppose, when I do my sharpening of it. I'll let you know. But you know, so 450, which is still better than this one, but the edge on this one hasn't even been pushed to the max yet, so. Pretty cool, I reckon. It's going to do very well. So that's that. Let's go and put a new edge on this junction. I'll probably be wearing new clothes when I come back because I'm not sure if I'll get this done tonight. But core, that excites me as a steel nerd. Bloody excellent. Righto, stay tuned. You may notice I'm in the same clothes. I just couldn't keep away. So I've gone and taken this, put a mirror polish edge on it. It is frighteningly sharp. It is a very sharp knife. I got to 17 degrees is what I did, and I know these 3 steels, the way I've this test has ended up, they're not super comparable because the angles are all about a degree off from each other. Sorry about that, but it's kind of just how the cookie crumbled. I was right though, it's the 20 degree angle it came with from the factory, but now this one's gone down to 17 degrees, so it's a degree higher than the chaparral and 2 degrees higher than the Rat 1 in D2, so it's a bit, and this is such minor, but it does generally make a bit of a difference in edge retention as well, so yes, it's a little bit thicker, but yeah, not really intending for a direct comparison between these 3, just video about D2 type steels was what I was after, and I think I'm still on track to make that video, so let's put the gloves on this time because it's been a long day for cutting. It's been a lot of cutting today. So let's make it a bit easier on myself. Got some mechanics gloves. Hey dude, got mechanics gloves. And This knife's great for the SAWCs, all that good stuff. Cool, so let's, I was talking about nothing fancy today, wouldn't I? Anyway, let's see how much my nice little refined mirror polished edge does against rope. Remembering 450 was where the XHP stopped and 290 was where the D2 stopped. I have a feeling this is going to, I think it's going to beat the XHP. This is just a very, very sharp looking knife right now, and just knowing what I know about how edges usually go, I think it's going to be okay. Oh, what do you reckon? That's... Oh, I'll give it another 25 more and see if it's any worse. $5.25. A little bit of a slow down point somewhere on there. There's a slight slow down point, but it's really not worth stopping yet. I'll give it another 25. It's 550. All right. $5.50. That's it. It's definitely a point of dullness, and it is increased as it went on. So 550 cuts, so it's no longer reliably slicing a piece of paper in a single, in a single stroke like I like. So that is 100 more than XHP, a whole lot more than the D2, which was the skinniest angle so far. So I mean, there's a lot of things you can take from this. As I said, they're not particularly comparable results. Just because the angles were a little bit different, but I think what it does say is that this is an excellent steel, XHP is an excellent steel, and D2 can be an excellent steel as well, as long as you get the good stuff. So yes, and I did spend a night a couple of days ago rust testing this stuff. I left it out. I used some seawater solutions. It's very salty water, 3.5% salt in the water, and I left that, a VG10 knife and a M4 knife, which I knew would rust. I left them out, and then I compared the after effects on the steel once I took them off and wiped them off. And I mean, and you may have noticed during the test or during the other clips, this is pretty much unblemished. So it did accumulate some orange over about the 6 hours that it sat out. It sat out there from about 4 o'clock in the afternoon to about 10 o'clock at night. It accumulated some orange, but it really hasn't. It was easy enough to just wipe off and wash off, and so it didn't really rust. Like you notice the M4 got a brand new tarnish mark. It looks like the spider on that knife has taken a big old crap, or dragging a big old sack of eggs, I guess, if you want to be a bit cleaner. So I wouldn't say it's a stainless steel particularly, and its numbers don't say that either, but it's definitely a steel that's not going to rust instantly like some others do. Like M4, I find, if I have it in my sweaty shirt pocket for the day, sometimes I can come back and it has gone a shade browner on me. So, but yeah, it's not a particularly rust-full steel either. So pretty happy with its rust resistance too. So overall, pretty much a win this steel. I really, really like it. Especially given that it is just D2, it's obviously all in the heat treat and that arrangement using the spraying method or whatever it's, Jesus, I'm tired now, I forgot what the method's called, spray form, spray seal, roof seal, flex tape, I don't know, whatever that method was, it seems like it's a good one. So PSF27, I can see why Mr. Bradley likes the steel a lot. It's definitely made to cut as well. And sharpening wise, it wasn't a terrible chore to sharpen, seeing as I did knock about 3 degrees per side off of it. It wasn't any harder than, say, S30V or anything like that, really. It's usually about a half an hour process when you do like a small reprofile up to a polish. So cool. I hope this has been of interest. Thank you for joining me in the Knife Lab, and stay tuned for more amazing content. See you in the next one, guys.